having that anxiety all the time, one is it's just exhausting, but two, that is how the interaction with the police is for Black people. It's not because all police officers are bad. The problem is we don't know which ones are and which ones aren't. And so you have that anxiety, that lump in your throat, your heart's beating, that fight or flight reaction is happening until the end of the interaction because you don't know if it's going to go south or not.
What up, what up, what up, what up? This is Three Brothers No Sense. I am Tavares Ferguson, joined with my co-hosts, Razi and Buff. Fellas, tell them what's on your mind.
Hey, the only thing that I got is Lucifer got renewed for another season on Netflix. Shout out to them for that. And I don't know if y'all have seen, but Cobra Kai, which is an awesome show in itself, is moving to Netflix from YouTube because YouTube kind of sucks with their plans. So glad that YouTube got out of the scripted show space because they just weren't putting it up any good numbers for it. So Netflix pulled it up. They're going to actually launch season 3 towards the end of this year, and season 1 and season 2 are going to be on there too. So whenever that comes out, we'll let you guys know, but I'm pretty excited about that. For them to continue on because Netflix just has better writers.
So I wasn't going to talk about Netflix, but I was told there's a documentary on there called American Gospel, and it deals with those pastors that claim they could heal you. Remember the cat that used to hit you with his coat and you fall back? What's his name? Benny Hinn or whatever. So I haven't watched it yet, so I can't vouch for it. But when the guy described it to me, I was like, oh yeah. I definitely want some of that. But I wanted to ask.
It's was it the female pastor that says her she can heal the sick by having sex with her? Is she gonna be on there?
I don't know, but we're gonna have to see.
Did I make that up? I feel like I saw that somewhere.
I saw it. I think it was somewhere in Africa, right?
Okay, I just want to make like I made that up. Like y'all laughing at me like that came out of nowhere.
Because I couldn't think about it at first, but yeah, you're right.
You'll see. But, maybe have to watch the series. Keep me posted.
I got a quick question for y'all because both of y'all are Marvel fans. How y'all feel about Beyonce entering the MCU?
Bro, I don't think everybody kind of, assumed she was going to play Storm. One, I don't think they're bringing Storm in this early. So I don't think she's going to play Storm. I think she's going to have a bit piece. There's no way that Marvel is going to cast her in a serious role because she can't act at all. She's horrible. So to answer your question, I hope that she isn't like a large role or she doesn't get a large role. So I'm just waiting to see though. I mean, I trust Marvel to cast better than that.
Aren't these the same people that own the rights to Lion King?
Well, they're both Disney products, but the MCU is different.
I'm just saying,
Disney.
you
like
you take
Kevin Feige runs MCU, and then Disney is its own.
Well, I hope so because
Marvel Studios does their own thing.
Well, I hope so because they made the mistake of putting Beyonce as Nala, the Lion King, so wouldn't be too far-fetched to assume that she could play a big role in the MCU. I'm all about and I have to say it now, American Black actresses getting huge roles because you're starting to see a lot of foreigners get cast in roles like that. So I'm happy if she gets an opportunity. I hope she works with a serious acting coach, but don't do Storm. You can't do Storm. I don't know who she can play, but I just feel like she wouldn't do Storm any justice. And hell, Halle Berry didn't do Storm any justice. And so
that first X-Men,
so if she struggled with the role and she's an excellent actress, I fear what Beyonce would do to that role. And if Beyonce is the first call it mutant to appear in the MCU, they have to do it right. They have to put the right person at Storm to bring that in, because that can mess so many different things up. I don't know where or how she would play it. I would assume it's going to be linked to Black Panther somehow, but who knows? Good luck, Beyonce. Just don't. No.
I had some pushback ready for you guys, but Razi nuked me when he said she couldn't act, because I was going to bring up how I know it's a different universe, but comic book fans had a problem with Heath Ledger playing the Joker, and then he played the Joker, and they had the STFU. Mm-hmm. A lot of DCU fans had a problem with Ben Affleck playing that. And that movie wasn't that great, but Ben Affleck wasn't the problem.
Right, like right. He was an awesome Batman. Yeah.
So sometimes I think comic book fans get ahead of themselves and they wind up doing better. But Heath Ledger,
pushback to you.
My
pushback to your pushback.
Yeah.
My pushback to your pushback. Okay, you just named two actors.
Right. That's why he knew. So
they are trained actors. We talking about Beyonce knows.
Yeah.
I mean, let's be honest. Like,
if you want her to sing, if you want her to dance, she in there.
Maybe a Black Jubilee or somebody, or what was the they had another female pop star, Dazzler or something like that.
Dazzler. Yeah. Let her be Dazzler.
Beehive.
Let's have a Black Dazzler.
That is not Buff. That's Ferg and Razi. Beehive. Okay.
I'm just saying, I want to see her succeed. Just don't put her in such a important, iconic role.
Yeah, I that's my thing. I want somebody that can really act, because Storm has so much range if they really stay true to the comic, and you need to be able to bring all that out, like the history of it. Be able to her accent, being able to bring her accent out. Like, can you imagine Beyonce trying to do an African Egyptian accent? Let's think about that.
Well, they gave up on that accent after the first X-Men. They just told Halle Berry, don't worry about it. Just talk how you normally talk.
That is hilarious. I didn't even think about the accent.
Yeah, like watch the first X-Men. She got the
Houston, Nigeria.
But that's all I got.
But you know what?
They could spin it. And talking about the original Storm, unpopular opinion, but I don't think Halle Berry is that great of an actress or actor.
Well, I stopped defending her after Monsters Ball, so you get
exactly. That's my prime example. Monsters Ball. It's like, make me feel good. Come on now, like it's bad. So. She is good if she doesn't have a whole lot of dialogue, doesn't need a whole lot of range.
Isn't that the definition of acting?
Well, y'all going in on the Hollywood actresses.
I'm just saying, isn't that the definition of act? Like, if she doesn't have to talk a lot or have to do a lot of things that have different emotions, we're good. Like, that is the definition of acting.
You typecast her, she's great. That's what it is.
I don't know.
Name a movie where you're like, Halle Berry bodied that role.
See, I could say Losing Isaiah, but I haven't seen that in like 25 years.
That's what I was about to say. If your claim to fame is losing
Baps,
fame,
don't do that. Don't do that.
Boomerang.
Yeah, but she's not even like the star. She's like,
Love should have brought your ass home last night.
Oh yeah, that's great. But
it's a great line. But if you look at the totality of that movie, and her roles,
she's good in that movie now. Don't. She's good in that movie. Razi, come on, man. She's good in that movie.
She's good for the time. She's good for the time period.
Wow.
He's so tough.
So angry Razi last week, judgy Razi this week. Okay.
Wow. Oh man. Is it on me?
Yeah, it's on you.
Well, belated happy Father's Day, fellas. How was your Father's Day, by the way?
Mine was awful. So I found out I had to work Sunday on Friday. Ooh. And I was pissed. I had to work 12 hours and I was upset the entire time. But listen, Tabitha did some real OG shit, man. She knew how upset I was. She woke up because I had to be to work at 7. She woke up at like 5:30 in the morning and fixed me some coffee, which is a very small gesture, but I appreciate it because anybody that knows Tabitha knows she don't do waking up early, bro, for nothing and nobody. But and once I got home, her and Jasmine, they made it better. They gave me the gifts. She had the food ready that I wanted, so that made it all better. But for those 12 hours, I was at work. I was agitated. Not gonna lie.
Yeah. Did she enjoy the birthday commercial?
Anniversary.
Yeah. Because her birthday's in August. That's what. Yeah, we're going to Vegas for her birthday. Yeah. So yeah, anniversary.
Oh, she has not listened to the episode yet, so I'm gonna put her on blast for that. She was like, I have listened. She was thinking about the previous episode, so she hadn't even listened to the current. She's like, what's the day? So she lost track of days and stuff, but hopefully she'll like it.
Okay, so you just want to replace Razi with putting your foot in your mouth, huh?
I wanted to answer honestly, man. Hey, Ferg,
all you can say is I don't know.
I think you're gonna touch on this too, man. Did any of y'all do any battle with the whole Happy Father's Day to the single mothers?
That was going to be my backup. So, Razi, how was your Father's Day? I'm gonna go back into that.
Oh, it was good, man. We I went down to Mobile because my mom's birthday was Saturday and then Father's Day was Sunday. So spent the weekend. I just want to fuss at Gina because Gina was one of those folks that went to the beach. And so the week before Father's Day, she goes to the beach and I come in town and she's like, oh, we gonna get up. I'm like, whoa, you've been to the beach. You've been around all these other people. So like she was mad because I wouldn't hug her. I gave her like the elbow bump and shit and everything. So yeah, she was mad about that. But that's the best I could do, man. I couldn't risk it. But other than that, man, it was really good. We spent some time, my dad, me, and then my son. So 3 generations of men kind of hanging out. That was pretty cool. And then we rode back. So since I had to go back to work Monday, we drove back on Sunday. But even that, man, we slow rolled it. It took us like 5.5 hours, almost 6 hours to get from Mobile to Birmingham. But we stopped at rest areas and played Pokemon Go and everything. Like the kids just really enjoyed the trip instead of us trying to like rush back. We just slow rolled it, and that was pretty cool.
I'm not there yet, bro. Like I'm like, all right. This is a 4-hour drive. Let's see if we can do it 3 hours and 45 minutes. Like stop and rest stop. I think the last time I stopped at a rest stop was 19. You know what? I actually stopped at rest stops a few times on road trips when I was a Neo. Outside of that, ain't no stopping at rest stops, bro. Like that's big. You have the patience. You gotta say I have the patience of Buddha. Razi, that's patience right there. I can't do it. Yeah, but my Father's Day was.
Jen used to get at me because she was like you. She was like, let's go. And I always slow roll like that, man. I mean, take the time, bro, because that rushing to get where you're going and instead of just enjoying the drive is a little different. I mean, we'll do random like side of the road, like attractions and stuff like that. If we see something we want to go see, we stop and we go see it.
Y'all can't see or hear what I'm doing, but that's a slow blink right there. Like, I got annoyed listening to that. Like, I just thought about the time that was going to take. Like, biggest gator farm in Louisiana. Like, oh, nigga, I don't care. I'm one of those. I've gotten better. Like, I wanted to be able to go to the restroom, gas up, and eat all at the same place. That's what single Ferg did. Now that I'm married with kids, we might have to stop. We'll stop more than once. We'll get some gas and then stop someplace for them to eat. Now it's usually fast food. We never sit down to eat on the road, but it's fast food and they can go to the restroom or whatever the case may be. But that's my compromise. So maybe one day, bro, one day.
Yeah, man. At one point we were driving after the Disney cruise. We were driving from Orlando back to Birmingham. We got in Atlanta somewhere, and they had a Lego land, and we just randomly stopped and went to Lego land for 2 hours.
Yeah, that I should have been home by then. So you interrupted my time. But I'm trying to get there though. That's one of my things. I'm trying to be more patient and realize that it's not all about my expectations. So hopefully I get there one day. Our counselor is working with me. He ain't done with me yet. But Father's Day was cool for me. I'm not one of those guys that really celebrates, and Z knows me. I'm very, it's hard for me to accept gifts and praise and stuff like that. So it's just little things with her just showing me that she cared, and Sky making me a little card, and just being around and kind of catering to me that day. And of course I cooked. That's what I like to do. But she also set up a kind of a day with some of our, another couple of hours that we hang with. And we just hung out, Father's Day. Our kids our girls play together. They're about the same age, and our sons are 3 months apart. The wives get along. And so all that. So we just kind of spent the day, the latter part of the day with them. And we crushed that bottle of guidance. So they came over to our house Friday for Juneteenth, and we crushed the Uncle Nearest. And then Sunday we crushed the bottle of guidance. So my bar is looking kind of skimpy right now when it comes to brown liquor, but it was good. But what I was going to say is I'm so proud, or maybe I missed it. I wasn't on social media enough. I did not see any single mother's appreciation post or anything like that. I don't know. I don't think I saw any last year either. So I think this might be the second year in a row that's kind of waning. Like I'm proud of our people for kind of staying away from that, or maybe it's the circle I run in and I'm not seeing it as much. But thank you, ladies, for just, biting a bullet and giving them in just one day, not making it a thing, us versus you thing. So I appreciate that. Anything else, fellas?
Agree. I just want to echo what you said. I didn't see that either. I think I saw maybe one comment. It wasn't the post, but somebody tried to comment with that, and the person that posted it shut it down. So it was cool not to see it, because I had gave up on that fight, because I remember I made a post about that, and a couple of women came after me. I was like, I'm going to just let it go. But so it's cool to see that it's not out there.
I digress. I do remember seeing one post, and I think it might have been Monday, and I think it was somebody, a woman, kind of going at somebody else, because it was the post about it being discriminatory to same-sex, Father's Day being discriminatory to same-sex couples or trans mothers, fathers. I get confused in that situation, but it was something along that line. They were like, really? Are we going that? Are we reaching that much? Like, is that where we want to go with this? Like, it went from single mothers who have to be, step up and be fathers. Now it's not fair to same-sex couples and all that stuff. And I did see one quote bases like, I don't know if that was on the same things like, no, that's a whole other comment. Never mind. I was a comedian looking at it, so I'll leave that alone. But anything, Razi, did you see anything negative?
No, I was gonna mention about that same sex thing there. That was a weird one for
Caught me off guard, right?
Yeah.
Really?
Because that's my thing. It's like, be gay, love who you love, but if you're a woman, you're not a father. Sorry. So and no, the kid just doesn't have a father. If it's two women and they've adopted, a kid or whatever, the kid has two moms. Oh well, it's two moms. And so on Mother's Day, you guys can share that day for that kid, and maybe they'll get you both something. But it's not a father and a mother. That's where I kind of draw the line. I mean, if we want to be, really true to it all.
Yeah, I think that's where I draw the line. Not to think about it, that's where I draw the line, because I guess each person wants their own day. And it's like, well, we did this person this day. Now it's my turn. Oh, we really don't get any credit. And it's like, come on, people. Like, come on. So, well, with that being said, fellas, it's time to pay some bills. So let's do it.
Wow, this house is cute. But can I really get in the game in this economy? I do have savings, and I am responsible-ish. I should bury it. I'm being wild. But what if I'm not being wild, though? Could I actually score a...
Kick off your home buying journey with Zillow's new BuyAbility tool. It makes it easy to find out what you can afford so you can get off the bench and onto the playing field with confidence. Check your BuyAbility only on Zillow.
All right. We have a special guest, none other than Sophia Mancarella. Please, Sophie, give us a good joke and redeem the Mancarella name. It's on you, Sophie.
What do you call a winner that really likes hot dogs?
I don't know.
A wiener. A wiener.
She's so pleased with herself.
I say a wiener that likes hot dogs? Like, Sophie.
That was my joke.
That was your joke. Appreciate it. So, still better than you, Razi.
I told you, it's the cuteness, man.
Definitely.
You ain't cute no more, man.
That's what it is. That I see how kids age out of like Disney and stuff like that. After a while, like the stuff they be doing, like you too old for that, bro. You go get a real job.
Oh, you talking about the Rudy factor?
Yeah.
You know, so they got to replace.
No. What was the chick on Family Matters that like went upstairs and then never came back down? Judy.
So you got to remember, Rudy was the cuteness of the Cosby Show, and then she got to that awkward age, and that's when they had to bring in Raven-Symoné as Olivia. Mm-hmm. And they went extra hard with her, like they forced her to be cute. Like Rudy was kind of just cute by just natural cuteness. Like all of a sudden, this girl starts telling jokes and dancing and singing and all this stuff. I'm like, Lord, they are trying to make up for this lack of cuteness they've had in the last few years. So, but Sophie has a long way to go before that, and I love her anyway. So, all right, fellas, y'all ready to do this?
Let's go.
All righty. So I'm going to bring us up on my question. So, not to beat a dead horse, but, you know, I'm still angry and upset. So this week, I've had several conversations, and I just keep getting tired of people trying to change the narrative where they talk about black on black crime. You guys don't get upset and all this other stuff. So I had a debate with somebody, and it actually was sparked by two videos that I'll mention later, but not sparked, but the two videos made me want to ask this question. So fellas, with everything going on and people trying to change the narrative, my questions are you all as black males more fearful of a one-on-one encounter with a random gang member, 2, a white supremacist, or 3, police officer? Who would you choose and why?
I'll go with the police officer. Yeah.
Explain.
You said a random gang member. So a random gang member, for the most part, really ain't all that dangerous if they by themselves. They usually do things in packs. You know what I mean?
Yeah. And a lot of times, unless they suspect you're trying to take their territory, or whatever, or like you got on the wrong color. A lot of times they're gonna approach you, ask, and then as long as you be like, nah, bro, I ain't down with that. You know what I'm saying? I'm just here. A lot of times they don't mess with you. Like it's not like that. Like this idea of the movie theater. Like, oh, all gang members go after everybody that walk around. It's not like that. Like, you know, we've grown up around stuff like
this.
That.
This ain't Death Wish with Charles Bronson. Like, it's not like that. I didn't choose the white supremacists because for the most part, and again, we're talking about for the most part, they kind of all talk. Like, there's literally a Facebook group called I know it has like a Confederate flag.
Yeah, I've seen that.
You know what I mean? And like the whole thread, it's like hundreds of comments. And all it is them trying to get themselves together. Okay, where we gonna meet? Yeah, it's time to meet. I'm sick of this. These black people are trying to take over. Yeah, it's time to rise. I'm down. I'll meet you guys there as soon as you pick a place. Like 100 comments later, and they still didn't even have a time, place, where, what, why, nothing like that. So for the most part, they're all talk. But a police officer, I've said this on many times, What's scary about a police officer, not all, and you always have to put that disclaimer out there, but a lot of them are afraid of being wrong. Like a lot of them are just afraid of admitting, hey, you know what? You're right. You know, that isn't against the law, whatever the case may be. They're wrong. When they're wrong, they double down. And then all of a sudden they're trying to arrest you. Then it's like, what are you arresting me for? It's an arrest. Okay. In order for me to resist arrest, I have to be placed under arrest. What was I under arrest for in the first place? And like they can't even come up with an answer. And then we've seen it so many times, it can lead to a very deadly situation. Or we don't even have to go that far. Like, it's not convenient to have your freedom taken away. Like a lot of people can't afford to miss a day at work and explain, yeah, I got locked up, because your supervisor's gonna be like, you got locked up. You know, everybody always thinks police officers are right. Okay, so you must have did something wrong. You got to go. So we always focus on the murders and things like that, or the brutality. But it's a lot of cases where people get locked up. And there's an article on this where, like, it really affects poor people the most when they have to pay these court costs and miss work and things like that. That one encounter can mess up your life for years to come or forever, depending on your situation. So, you know, out of the three, man, and Ferg, I blame you for this because people going to swear. Well, I kind of took up for police officers. What was the last episode? I kind of took up for them a little bit.
Yeah, a little bit.
No, you were Blue Lives Matter last episode.
Oh, well, the episode before that then. Yeah. But yeah, man, of those three choices, that's the one I fear the most.
Yeah, I'm right there with you. And I fear the police because of what you said. I don't know when it's going to go south, and I can't control it. Like with a gang member, I feel like I can defend.
But Razi, just follow the rules.
It doesn't work that way. It doesn't. Like I can comply and still get choked. I can comply and still get shot. So, because the thing is, if somebody is wrestling you to the ground, you're trying to protect yourself. You don't want to hit the ground really hard. You're going to try to put your hands out. So if you have my hands behind my back and you're slamming me to the ground, I'm going to resist so that I can put my hands down to try to protect myself from a fall. But anyway, away from that, when you talk about a gang member or even a white supremacist, I can defend myself and I can still be in the right. I have the right. If they approach me and I fear for my life, I can whoop their ass and I can get away with it. Like, you can't do that with police. You can't say, I fear for my life. I am scared. I am trying to get away from you. You can't run. You can't swing on them so you can get them away from you so that you can run and get out of the situation. There is none of that. So that's the fearfulness of it all. And I had to explain to one of my friends, he is avid Trump supporter, Blue Lives Matter. He's a cop. So, you know, he's way on the right. And he was like, if you question the cops and this, that, and the other. And I was explaining to him the anxiety and how anxiety works. The thing about it is, any military folks, you went, even if you don't have PTSD, if you went overseas and you spent a year driving on the roads or being in situations or hearing helicopters or hearing a rocket, all of that, when you come back home, that anxiety is there where you're driving down the road and you see a bag on the side of the road that just doesn't look right. I call myself swerving. Like, you literally swerve to the other side of the road. Don't matter if oncoming traffic's coming, anything. You swerve to the other side of the road because you've just been trained that way. So that anxiety is in you and that hypervigilance is in you. So having that anxiety all the time, one is just exhausting. But two, that is how the interaction with the police is for Black people. It's not because all police officers are bad. The problem is we don't know which ones are and which ones aren't. And so you have that anxiety, that lump in your throat, your heart's beating, that fight or flight reaction is happening until the end of the interaction because you don't know if it's going to go south or not. So that's where, like, you're asking why we're more anxious or why we would rather I would rather walk up to a random gang member or a white supremacist than have an interaction with a police officer. And that's why, because I don't know where it's going to go and I can't defend myself if it does go bad.
You guys made my job so easy. I was like, I would have been shocked if there would have been any other answer, but I figure you guys would say that. The craziest part to me is the fact that the three choices, we have a gang member who is a criminal. Like, this is what they're doing. They're feared. They're known criminals. We have a white supremacist who in a lot of groups are seen as terrorists or whatever, hate groups. And then we have a police officer who is sworn to protect and serve. And without a shadow of a doubt, all three of us instantly went to police officer. That's crazy. Like, to put those three in the same bucket, it should be comparing apples to oranges. And somehow the orange still stuck out. Like, that's what's crazy to me. But my answer, of course, is police officers. And there's a few things. Like, I'm more likely to encounter a police officer in a bad situation than any other person. Gang members walk up and down. I grew up around gang members. There's no instant problematic situation with them. There's no instant conflict. They could be your family members. They could be friends of, like, there's no instant conflict. Like you said, there's no real reason for us to beef or sign of disrespect. Most of the time, they're going to go about their business. Same with white supremacists or racists or whoever. Like, I'm pretty sure we pass one every day. You're going to pass somebody in a grocery store with a Confederate shirt, Confederate flag shirt, or whatever the case may be. We don't know their affiliation, but they don't bother us. There's no instant conflict. And even if we did, you said it best, Razi, like, you can defend yourself against the other two. The problem with police is there's usually no positive reason for us to interact. There's a reason that we feel the need to film them when there's an interaction. There's a reason, like you said, our guard is instantly up. Every police officer is not bad, but as soon as we interact with them, we're going through all the things that could happen. And what's crazy is out of the three, there's the greatest number of negative outcomes when it comes to interacting with these guys if things go wrong. You know, just like Byron said, there's a perception of criminality. Like, I was watching somebody and they were saying they got pulled over by the police in their neighborhood and they saw neighbors and people passing by. And the fact that when you're interacting with the police, people automatically assume that you did something wrong. There's detainment, arrest, jail. There's financial obligations that come with any of these situations, injury, and then death. Like, these are things that happen with interactions with the police. These are potential outcomes. I meet a white supremacist. We can get into it. Verbal altercation. I can defend myself. You said you can win. I can even lose and still go about my day. Like, I can get a fight with a white supremacist and lose and it's still okay. Like, you can't afford to win or lose with interactions with police officers. So that's the scary thing to me. And one of the scariest things to me is the fact that they pretty much have a license to kill. Like, we've seen so many cases where these guys go out and kill people on video and stuff like that, and it's justified. So what made me really ask this question, I saw two videos today. I'm gonna try to hit them up real quick. One video, there was this gentleman, older gentleman, I think he was in Valdosta, got stopped by a police officer. He was interacting with one police officer. He was kind of saying, hey, you look suspicious. He kind of look weird. It's like, why are you walking in this area? He's like, I've been at Walgreens waiting on money for my sister. If you don't believe me, call her. Like, who's your sister? Yeah. And basically, he's like, she's a person that sent me money. During this conversation, another police officer walks up out of the blue, no interaction, no conversation, walks up, grabs the guy belly to back, suplexes the guy. And I think from what I saw and the way he was screaming, broke the dude's wrist. This is an older black gentleman, probably in his 50s, 60s, and he's screaming in pain and stuff like that. The crazy thing is the other officer that he initially had the conversation with seemed so bewildered and caught off guard with the situation. Like, what the hell just happened? And the other officer thought he was justified. He's like, well, isn't this the guy that had the warrant? He's like, no, the guy that had the warrant was down the street. We're good. And he kept trying to justify and understand where he went wrong. And I don't think I heard him apologize or anything. But basically, you're like, are you sure you have his license? And like, he kept trying to make himself right. Like you said, Byron doubled down on the situation. You know, they call the ambulance and all this stuff. The guy ended up suing them for $700,000. I hope he gets his money. But it was weird to see this guy just walk up and just assume that he was right. The other officer was caught off guard, and he seemed like he was really empathetic and caught off guard with the situation. So in that situation, I don't think there was anything he could have done differently. The second video, I don't know if you guys saw this. There was a guy who had an interaction with police officers in his apartment complex. They were trying to enter because a potential domestic disturbance call. And he's like, nobody made the call. Don't know what you guys are talking about. If you want to enter my house, come back with a warrant. And they put their foot in the door, wouldn't let him close the door. They forced him to talk to him. This goes on about 15 minutes. And he's like, hey, you can leave somebody at the door, at the front door. I'm not going anywhere, but you need a warrant to get in my house. I feel threatened because there was like 4 or 5 police officers from what I could see. I feel threatened. It's just me and my son here. You're making him upset. So they finally talked the guy into letting them see his son. When his son came out, he seemed frantic. And so when the police saw the frantic youth, they barged in the house, pretty much pushed the guy. They started tussling. And from what I gathered, he was trying to protect his son and telling him to go in the room and pushing him off. And all you hear is like, stop hurting your son. Stop trying to hurt your son. Stop trying to hurt your son. And I guess they had the camera on and eventually went out. But all you could hear the guy was saying, go in the room, go in the room. Are you going to do this in front of my son? I can't believe you're doing this in front of my son. They kept trying to justify that. And the reason I mentioned those 2 videos is I've come up with 2 theories of my own. The first one was we just don't trust the police because we have too many examples of just mistreatment by the police. In video 1 and 2, the officers assume they knew what was going on. And so that was like what you were saying, Byron, they doubled down. So I call that blue supremacy. The belief that police assumptions and actions are superior, therefore right, and supersedes the rights of non-police officers. That's what happens. They double down. They just assume they're right. In the second video, it was more so the comments. People were justifying the police actions due to his quote unquote unjustified overreaction. If nothing was going on, he had nothing to hide. And then other people said it was a potential domestic disturbance, so he should have just complied and allowed them in. Second term, blue privilege. The societal privilege and system that benefits police officers over non-police officers that hinges on the assumption, once again, that police officers' judgments and actions are justified due to higher authority and standards and status. I feel like we give them the benefit of the doubt so much. We can't, like I said, you can't win or lose. You should have complied. You should have let them in. It doesn't matter if they're right or wrong. Just do it. And so those are my things that just really perturbs me. It's like blue lives might be a thing because there's blue supremacy and blue privilege that we all fall prey to. So that's my soapbox. Those are my 2 cents. I don't know if that struck anything with you guys, but it really had me upset.
So that works as long as there's white skin in that blue uniform. But a couple of things I want to touch on. First, the first video Ferg mentioned is on our Instagram page at 3 Brothers No Sense. So please check that out. Posted the video, and it's exactly how he described. And I kind of want to slightly disagree with you because you said the officer that was speaking to him, it wasn't much he could do. Like, if anything, and him showing empathy is like a big deal to us because we rarely even see that from officers. But he could have been like, yo, what you doing? No, what's going on? We're talking. He didn't do any of that. But you're right. You could tell he was like, what the hell is he doing right now? But exactly how Ferg described it. So please go check that video out. The second thing, I teased Razi in his answer and said, hey, just do what the police officers say. And anytime someone comes at me with that, I just give them a real life example of Charles Kinsey in Miami, Florida, who was helping an autistic kid. Okay? Police officer, he was sitting down. Police officer said, get your hands up. He had his hands up. He still got shot. Okay? So it's not about, and I got another example for you. I can't even think of the brother's name, but it's in South Carolina. He gets out his pickup truck. The officer says, let me see your ID. He said, okay. He reaches for his ID. He got shot. So don't tell us to just follow directions, because even when we follow directions, we out this getting blasted. Let me calm down a little bit. So those are the two things I wanted to say. And then, the whole George Floyd thing, because you mentioned how you saw some of the comments. After George Floyd, I've given up on a certain segment of people not having empathy for a black person being killed by police, because you had two officers holding George Floyd's legs down. He was handcuffed. He was on his stomach. And you had Derek Chauvin on his neck. And you got people talking about what he was resisting. I've yet to see video of him resisting, but I'm willing to give you the benefit of the doubt and say, hey, maybe there was a 5-second segment in the video I saw that got blocked out that I didn't see where he started resisting. I never saw George Floyd resisting, but let's say he did. Remember, he was on his neck for 8 minutes and 46 seconds. The resistance was over.
Yeah, he passed out. At one point, at the point that he passed out, there could not have been any more resistance. Yeah. So you can't tell me he was resisting for another 5 minutes after, he passed out.
And so I'll just say this. I've given up on that certain segment of people ever giving anything to a black person being killed by police, because those are the same people that celebrated that the FBI said that it wasn't a hate crime against Bubba Wallace at NASCAR. It still was a noose found there, folks. Yeah, it had been there since October, but the fact of the matter was it still was a noose. And NASCAR has given comfort to racists, but we'll get in that subject another episode. But those are the people that celebrate that, but don't say anything about the NYPD lying about being poisoned by Shake Shack with bleach put in their shakes. That turned out to be totally false. The LAPD talking about tampons being put in their, I think one of their beverages or something. That was false. You're very quiet on those issues, but you're quick to point out Jesse Smollett and all the other stuff. So I've given up on those type of people. But that's all I got to say on that. Just remember, though, Charles Kinsey and the brother in South Carolina, they did exactly what the police said, and they still got shot. So
that's the thing. They always assume that they were right. So there was in the second video, there was two things he said. They were kind of like, why are you, and I paraphrase, like, why are you so nervous? And he's just like, your badge makes me nervous. Like, there's so much that can go wrong just because of your badge. Then one of the guys tried to relate to him. I don't know what nationality he was, but he was trying to relate to him on to like, I'm ethnic too. And it's like, oh no, that color of your uniform makes you all the same color than me. Like, he was on some like, I just don't trust you. And you could be perfectly right in the situation. I just don't trust you. But it goes back to people like they instantly were trying to figure out ways, things that he did wrong to defend why the police were right. And it's just a privilege. It's like, let's see the rest of the video. Oh, there's a piece missing. Let's say that 5 seconds was missing. So it wasn't 8:46. The video's really 8:51. We just didn't see the 5 seconds that he was resisting. Those 5 seconds for everybody else, for other people, would justify the other 8 minutes and 46 seconds. It's just disheartening to me. And it's like, to me, these are real things. I mean, there's a privilege that comes with being a police officer that you get the benefit of the doubt. There is a certain supremacy where you feel like you can't be questioned. A lot of things escalate because you can't be questioned. So often you see or hear, well, you fit the description, or we got a call in the area. I wish there was like, oh, that's cool. Can I hear the call? Oh, yeah. 6'2" black male wearing black was caught in this area. Well, sir, I'm 5'8.5" and I have on light blue. I don't fit that description. Thank you for your time. Let's continue. Like, I just have to take your word that I fit the description. And when I challenge you on because I know I'm innocent, I become a problem. I have to step out of the vehicle. I have to do all these things. So I'm tired of it. My bad. I'm moving on. Continue.
So, all good, man. I'll pick it up. I'm a change it up. I'm actually consciously trying to stay away from police brutality and George Floyd and everything like that, because I feel like we had a trilogy with the looting episode and the 2 episodes after that. So I'm gonna take it to a different area, and maybe Razi will bring us back to a similar subject like yours. But Razi, this kind of is for you. Obviously, it's for Ferg too, but. So we talked about cancel culture before on here, and Razi, you said that Kanye West was one of the people that you've canceled. So my question for you guys is, because it's been rumored, obviously we can't prove this, but it's been rumored that Kanye West all along was just playing this role to get things done, like the prisoner that Kim Kardashian got freed and things like that, and that he never was a Make America Great Again guy, that he was just doing all that to fool Trump into doing what they wanted him to do. And somebody even posted some screenshot that he actually donated to Hillary Clinton in 2016. So my question for you is this, because even if that's not true, can someone that you've canceled redeem themselves, or once they're canceled, is that it?
It depends. It depends on what they got canceled for. So, I mean, if that was the case, Biden would be canceled from the 94 drug bill, right? Like, Biden has said some pretty racist things back in the 70s and 80s. So, but the thing about it is, it was that time. It was that culture then. He has evolved, and he's shown from his voting record since then, and especially most recently, that he has evolved. So yes, they can come back from that. It's just going to take a lot. And so you stay on that cancel list until I feel comfortable that you have reformed. It's the same thing when we talk about prison, and somebody going to prison and we want to reform them. Like, what do we really want out of cancel culture? Do we want that person to actually go and self-reflect and say, you know what, I was totally wrong, and then they try to make strides to get better? And I see that and I will uncancel them when I feel like they have really internalized that, and it's not a publicity stunt. It's not spin. That's the problem, is that it takes longer than a single media post or a single donation to Hillary Clinton, or even paying, I think, George Floyd's kids. I think he said he was going to pay for their college or something like that. So yes, those are cool things. I need to see that continue. And, we always talk about it takes 5-10 times as much good things to kind of offset a bad thing or a bad, interaction with somebody. It's the same thing. I mean, what he did, and not just wearing a MAGA hat. I mean, I could kind of see if that was kind of I'm doing it as a publicity stunt. Same way with, who is it? Lil Jon and that whole Georgia crew doing Confederate flags for a while. And, I'm not canceling them because they just didn't know any better then. You could probably go back to times that I think I had a Confederate belt buckle at one point until I understood what it was about. Until I understood this isn't about, some Confederate pride or Southern pride and all this and that. Like, I had to go and actually do some research. I had a friend call me out on it, and I'm like, it's more serious. I knew it had, we fought the Civil War over, slavery, but we grew up in the Alabama system, right? We all took Alabama history together. It was not taught to us that way. And so unless we really got taught the true history, then we wouldn't know. And so I'm not canceling Little John and David Banner and all them for that. But when I see them doing things to really make a difference and make a change, and I feel comfortable, then yeah, I'm good with it. I don't know if you guys have been following me and So Church of the Highlands, I think I talked about it a little bit, and their pastor, Church of Highlands is the largest church in Alabama. I think they have like 16 campuses. They're in a whole bunch of prisons, over 60,000 members. It's huge. And so the Pastor Chris, who is over the entire church, was liking a whole bunch of like racist comments and stuff like that on Instagram. And you know, he got on that cancel list, and I go to Church of the Highlands, or went to Church of the Highlands, I will say. And so I've kind of canceled Church of the Highlands at this point. And he came back, and he was like, he you know, the Sunday after it happened, he's like the last couple of weeks, or the Sunday after it broke. So it had been a couple weeks before it really kind of started fizzling and then came up. And he came back and he's like, I'm a different guy from the last 2 weeks, and I've you know, listened to everybody and yada yada yada. I didn't know it was as bad. That for me is a soundbite. He's trying to cover his butt. That doesn't do it. I'm not coming back to Church of the Highlands until I really see him and the Church of the Highlands do things differently, and I feel comfortable that I can have my kids there and I can send them to Vacation Bible School, and you're not going to have a white supremacist come speak to them. Like, until I feel that comfortable enough that can happen, I can't come back. I can't uncancel you. And so it's the same thing with any of these other folks that I cancel. It's like, until I really feel comfortable and feel like you are on our side again, then you're canceled. I know it was a long answer, but.
Nah, I appreciate it, bro. What you got, Ferg?
I think it stems from, I don't think it's just a yes or no answer. I think it depends. But before I go there, Razi, I can't just let you slide like you didn't know about wearing a Confederate flag belt, dog. Like, give me, what did you think?
How old were you?
Like 19, 18, 19, like right out of school.
Oh, shoot.
So you just saw it as like this kind of redneck Confederate pride type thing. Knew it could be kind of racist, but really didn't see it as that. It was just kind of growing up in Alabama. That's what people do, wear Confederate flag stuff. And you thought it was kind of cool to be the black dude that wore the Confederate flag, or help me understand.
Kind of like I said, I mean, it's the same thing when Little John and all them was like waving. It was kind of one of those things that, you know, you just kind of, you threw it on, no big deal. And it was kind of to start conversation about it. And so it was more shock and awe and that type of thing. So okay. It wasn't necessarily, oh, yes, I support it. It was like, boom, I got it on. Say something.
All right. So, you know, people gonna come at you, especially Ani. Just letting you know, she coming for you.
I got his back.
That's my thing is, when you know better, you do better. And so that my thing is, you can come at me for things that I've done in the past, but the thing is, I don't regret anything that I've done in the past. It's like, I did it. I learned about it. I learned more about it, and then I corrected my ways. So that's all it is.
I guess. But no, I understand what you're saying. I'm just playing devil's advocate. But I think it starts with me, Byron, is like my relationship with the person. Like Biden, I don't have a personal relationship with him, so my expectations are only so much. I still will always see somebody like Biden as a politician. Kanye, I'll never know Kanye personally. His level, he's higher. He was higher on my list than Biden, just because I felt like he was one of us. This was the same dude that went after George Bush and Taylor Swift. So he was kind of one of us. And so it hit a little harder. And I think it depends on what they were doing. Like Razi said, it was kind of part of the times. Kanye is more recent. And if the rumors are true and it was a play on Trump's arrogance and ignorance, then I get it. But if you're doing it to maximize or as a publicity stunt or to come up off of the sweat of hard work of others, like, I got to cancel you. Like, I can't redeem you. And even if I do redeem you, the question is to what level? Like, Biden didn't have far to fall and doesn't have far to gain, because like right now, like, it's either Biden or Trump. Will I ever hold him like, oh, you know, he's my favorite president, he's a role model to my kids and stuff like that? Probably not. You know, Kanye, prior to this, Kanye was one of my favorite, you know, artists or whatever the case may be. Could he get redeemed if the rumors are true and he comes out with some more hot music? Quite possibly, but it's going to take a lot, and I have to be sure that he's really on our side. But then, at the end of the day, to be honest, it would take a lot more for you two to redeem yourselves in my eyes because of our personal relationship and my expectations and the impact you guys have on my life. If you guys did some crazy stuff and for God forbid I had to cancel you guys, I'm not dropping my kids off at your house. I'm not like Razi, you were talking about your pastor, which is closer to you personally. That's a bigger deal. It's harder to redeem because the impact you have. Biden didn't have to do much to redeem. Kanye didn't have to do too much to redeem. Your pastor, who has an impact on your kids' spirituality and their souls or whatever you want to go into, that's a big deal. So I think it all depends on that relationship and how close they can impact your life and the people around you. So Biden, all right, you're better than Trump, hopefully. Kanye, you still got a chance, and God forbid any of you guys do anything to get on the list. I think that's my answer in a nutshell.
So, first off, Razi said Biden said some racist things in the 70s and 80s. He said racist things more recently than that, like in the 2000s when he was Obama's running mate. He said racist things. He said some racist about Obama. So there's that. And I would love to see him atone for to Anita Hill, like to her face, apologize for how he handled that whole hearing and pretty much just let her sit there and get bashed by all these white men. You know what I'm saying? Like that wasn't cool at all, man. But so I didn't cancel Kanye, but I think the only person that I can say I've honestly canceled, because to me, to cancel somebody is somebody that you rocked with, like you watched their movies, you listened to their music or whatever, and then they did something and you like stop. For me, it's R. Kelly. And I've learned over the years to not judge people who don't cancel somebody I've canceled, because at first, once I canceled R. Kelly, I feel like everybody should have been canceling R. Kelly. You know what I'm saying? But it can't be like that, because once you really start looking at these entertainers, a lot of them are so flawed, man. It's just really about what's important to you and what you can deal with. Because you think about James Brown, one of the greatest entertainers of all time, had one of the best interviews of all time, by the way, on CNN when he was drunk. But I mean, he pretty much was straddling his wife and like ground and pound beating the bleep out of her. I think it was Miles Davis. Wasn't he married to Cicely Tyson? Mm-hmm. He used to beat her up. You know what I'm saying? So, but for me, what R. Kelly did was just a bridge too far for me. And so I cancel him, but I'm not judging anybody who hasn't. Could he redeem himself? Nah. For me, he can't redeem himself. You know who could redeem themselves? Trump. He won't. But he could if he like turned around and like really stop being racist and just, because you think about the power he has the kind of power that the Tea Party had, to where their followers are going to follow, what he says. Like if he really, like he could really attack this police brutality stuff. He could really attack racism. He could really attack inequality and all of these bad ills that are in this country. Like I said, he won't. But the kind of power that he has, whether we like it or hate it, he has that power. He has these people. There's no way.
But do you think if he did try to attack those, he would keep his power? That's the thing, is he has that power. He has that power because he won't attack him. He has that power because he's racist. So well, if he stops being racist, he's going to lose that power, because they'll be like, oh, they got to him.
Not after if he wins the next election, he's in the clear. But even if he did it, I wouldn't think his intentions were pure.
No, it'll be for re-election. He'll do it.
Well, he's saying if he wins re-election.
If he does, because at this point, there are some, he'll definitely get the bipartisan votes if he switched over. And then you have some Republicans who have, they're not all bad people, So he would have that. But
my question: how can Trump redeem himself? That should have been my question. I need reparations. I need an apology to the exonerated 5, not the Central Park 5. I need I need like 10 other things. You know what I'm saying? Like,
but yeah,
he got a lot to do.
At that point, he doesn't need the MAGA hat wearers. Like I got your vote. Now let me show you what I'm going to do. He could do what we all wanted Obama to do. We always like, if Obama get reelected, he got nothing to lose. Balls to the wall. But once again, are his intentions just because his ego, which you said it would never happen? If it happened, I feel like it would all be ego. Unless he's pulling a Kanye West. It's like, I got to play this role into like, hey, Kanye, this is my real plan. It's like, trust me, people, Trump has a plan. I just don't see it happening. And I would just be cautious.
I also don't see it happening because Mitch McConnell. So people give the president way too much power in a lot of these things. The legislation has to come through the Congress. And going back to Obama couldn't do anything his second term because the Republicans had the Senate. So, it's one of those things that if he had all 3 branches or the House, the Senate, and the White House, he probably would have went balls to the wall. He had to do what he could.
He had that
for 2 years. He had it for 2 years, and then
balls to the wall.
Well, no, not your first term. Your first 2 years of your first term, you're not going balls to the wall like that.
But he got reelected, and he still ain't going balls to the wall.
He couldn't at that point.
But he didn't have. He ain't even try. I'm drinking it. I'm drinking it. I'm being combative.
Let's keep our anger towards Trump. But no, like, think about it is, if Trump played it right, Mitch could be on the right side of history. This could be the Republicans' chance to win the black vote if they did right. Mitch McConnell, because I don't think they're that. They're not. And the
Democrats not going to let them do it either. That goes back to that video Byron posted about Tim Scott. The Democrats aren't going to let the Republicans put their name on it.
And Trump is fascinating too, because it wasn't that long ago. Black people, I'm not going to say they liked Trump, but they didn't mind him.
Trump was the barbecue. Trump he
was the guy that was at Mike Tyson fights. He was on an episode of Fresh Prince of Bel-Air. He was hanging out with rappers. He was with G-Unit.
Mm-hmm.
He was on Shade 45 with Tony Yayo and 50 Cent. You know what I'm saying? Like, he was cool. But
Trump was part of black culture until he ran, until Obama. Trump was part of the black popular culture until Obama. It was just that.
His fatal mistake was how he went at Obama, saying that, the birth of stuff and all that. That's when he revealed himself, I guess you could say.
Yeah, so
take us home, Razi.
Do we have time? I got a short question anyway.
I will show.
Yeah, we can do what we want. So I don't know if y'all have heard, but the Undertaker is actually retiring. So shout out to the Undertaker, my favorite of all time. And so with that, I wanted to ask you guys, we probably don't watch wrestling as much anymore. We got homies that do. We got a lot of friends that still watch wrestling. Kids kind of wrestling. Kids kind of enjoy it. They go in and out sometimes. And so I'm sure once Ollie gets about 7 or 8, he's probably going to get into it, especially once it comes back and, they come to the city and I'll take them to a Monday Night Raw, something like that. So I want your top 3 wrestlers of all time. So not necessarily your Rushmore, but your top 3 wrestlers, your favorites. They don't necessarily have to be the ones that changed wrestling or anything like that. Just what's your top 3 wrestlers?
I'll start. My all-time favorite is Bret the Hitman Hart. Don't know why. I just rock with Bret the Hitman Hart.
Execution.
Yes. Crazy enough, Mr. Perfect. I don't know why, Once again.
You know why. You know why. Are you serious? You don't know why.
I resemble that remark. And I guess my third would be Chris Benoit. Like, that was my dude, just a small dude that was just.
You mean Benoit or Jericho?
No,
Chris Benoit. Go with Benoit.
I just like that crossface crippler, dog. That just.
Okay. So just the wrestler, Chris Benoit.
Yeah.
It's not a laughing matter what he did. It's just that we're laughing at,
Yeah.
Tell the listeners why we're laughing.
For him to pick considering what Chris Benoit. Let me get my serious voice on. Chris Benoit murdered his family and then killed himself.
Yeah,
and so what pick him is kind of like
during his heyday. Like, that's who I wanted to see wrestle. Like, because he was part of the Four Horsemen, small guy. Like, he just held his own. Like, they're off the field, out of the ring, shenanigans or whatever the case may be. I really stopped keeping up with I did remember that, and that's kind of why I just like wrote them off. But like, when you just ask the questions, like, those are my people. Those are my go-to people. Followed by the British Bulldog, just for whatever reason when he was a British Bulldog. So,
for me,
come on.
So me and Razi got one of the same ones, the Undertaker. I could pick 6, but I feel like if you're holding me to 3, I gotta pick Triple H, because when I worked at Sam's Club,
I thought that was gonna get number 1.
Yeah,
I thought that was gonna get number 1.
For those of you who don't know, I used to like gather the carts outside the Sam's Club, and like me and my coworkers, we would be stupid. I would literally walk up like on a Saturday morning when it's packed and like hundreds of customers are walking in. I would stand on top of the carts, drink some Gatorade, and spit it out like Triple H. I did that. So Undertaker, Triple H, and this guy.
Shawn Michaels, baby.
He was up there too.
Hey, that Sweet Chin dude. You know what I'm saying? Like, I didn't like him at first, but he grew on me, man. So, but I could say Stone Cold, I could say The Rock, because they were great. But those are my 3. Like, Shawn Michaels was in the best WrestleMania, because like after WrestleMania 14, I kind of started falling off. But Shawn Michaels fought Stone Cold with Mike Tyson being the guest referee. And that's like my favorite WrestleMania of all time, dog. So Shawn Michaels, Triple H, and The Undertaker.
Who was that Shawn Michaels beat that he like cried when he gave them the sweet chin music? Was that Bret Hart?
I think so.
No, Bret Hart got screwed over. Remember, he was doing like a ankle lock move, and Vince McMahon came and told him to ring the bell. So it wasn't no heartwarming moment right there. Bret Hart got screwed over.
Who was it? I'm gonna go look for it now.
Some of the sharpshooter?
No, it wasn't even a sharpshooter. It was just like a regular ass move. But yeah, those are my 3. Who you got, Razi?
Yeah, so I already said the Undertaker. I mean, but you say you like motorcycle riding Undertaker?
No. I like the dead Undertaker.
Original dead Undertaker, the dead man. Okay,
which time he died? Like,
Paul
that was
Bear raising the urn. Undertaker.
Hey, side note, like when I realized Paul Bear's name was Paul Bear, like it hit me out the blue. It was just kind of like like it was an epiphany. It was an epiphany. Just,
I still remember his first match. Please correct me if I'm wrong, like wrestling fanatics, but I believe his first match was against Tugboat. And me and my cousin Chris watched it, and it was like, whoa, he can't feel no pain, dog. Can't nobody beat him. Oh, snap. And I was a fan.
When you thought he was
dying in the ring?
When you thought he was like knocked out, and then he just like stood up or like sat up without like his legs moving, bro. You're like, what?
That's
crazy.
That's hella core work.
Exactly. So of course, Undertaker. You said Shawn Michaels. I was gonna go with him. That sweet chin music, man. It's like something about that. I like Shawn Michaels all the way back when he was with the Rockers, man. So like that's how far back I go back with him. I rock with him so hard. And my third, I know y'all thought I'm going to say X-Pac, but I'm not going to say X-Pac. That was my homeboy. I love some X-Pac just because, like you talked about Chris Benoit, he was a small guy with, DX and everything. But my third really has to be Stone Cold Steve Austin, because it was a toss-up between him and The Rock. But Stone Cold, man, it's like he just had that attitude and he went at it, and it was exciting to watch. Like The Rock was entertaining, but it wasn't, his matches weren't as exciting as Stone Cold. Like when he did that Stone Cold Stunner and he jumped up and he like flipped him off and like ran around, bruh, you just get so hype after it. So yeah, that's my top three, man. I love them.
Yeah, now to think about it, some best okay, let's kind of side note, best finishing move. That definitely was a.
Well, I know the most used finishing move was the DDT by Jake the Snake Rock.
Oh yeah,
like everybody in the hood. About the DDT. What does DDT even stand for?
I don't know. We need to figure that out. That DDT, the diamond cutter, like that was, bro. How many times did we just walk around trying to just diamond cut people?
Listen, was that we had a full-fledged wrestling match in the 11th grade, and we came to school the next day so sore. Like we had to get our girlfriends and stuff like to massage us in class. Like we was legit in pain, bro.
So who were you that day, right? Buff?
I want to say I was Ken Shamrock because I think I put the ankle lock submission on somebody. But I'm not entirely sure, man.
Razi, who were you?
I think I was Bret Hart that day.
Nope, you were not. You're definitely not Bret Hart.
I don't know that. Who was it?
That was Bret Hart. I think you were X-Pac.
Because I know Stickman was. I probably was.
No, Stick was X-Pac.
I know Stick was Undertaker because that was his favorite guy. Like
the funniest the person of all, Lorenzo, with that Hulk Hogan lazy leg drop. And Sherman trying to rack people. Put people on the rest.
Oh yeah, yeah. We should do that in the weight room. I could have picked Kevin Nash too, by the way, but it was mostly his mic skills versus his like actual wrestling matches. Like he just was funny on the mic.
Yeah. So, they're going to like start wrestling again, start watching it again. Because these new wrestlers, man, it's not as entertaining. They are not as just they don't pull you in like those old wrestlers do.
And I don't believe for 1 second that the Undertaker is retiring. He's supposed to retire in 2017 when he lost to Brock Lesnar, his first WrestleMania loss, and he out here still wrestling. So I don't even believe it.
We'll see.
Well, fellas, that was a great show. What do you have to leave the people with?
So a few things, actually, man. One, I want to give a shout out to my missus, she's been kind of anal with this whole coronavirus thing, but she's been on it. Like she's literally like in the morning on BJ's or Walmart website getting wipes, you know what I'm saying? Trying to get Lysol spray, sanitizer, whatever she can find. Like we have so many boxes in our dining room and living room with stuff like that. So I just want to give a shout out to her. And also, you know, we talk about the fact that we're under this pandemic and stuff. And studies have shown that people have developed drinking problems because they're at home all day. Some of them probably lost jobs or whatever like that. And, you know, we love to get our sip on. We mentioned Guidance whiskey earlier. But please, man, if you have a loved one and you start noticing some signs, don't be afraid to talk to them. Don't be afraid to try and get them some help or that kind of thing. Like, you know, just look out for one another because we still have to remember there's some stressful times going on right now. And a lot of people are turning to, like, a lot of businesses have suffered. Alcohol ain't one of them. Like, they're doing very well. And now you can, like, get it delivered in some areas. So I just want to tell people to look out for those signs, man, and just be safe and watch out for your loved ones.
Yeah, for me, I just want some prayers because we're recording on Wednesday. On Friday, they're going to announce Alabama's return to school policy when we'll know whether we're going back to school or if they're going to be homeschooling in 2020, 2021. So let's just everybody circle up, pray that we can send these kids back to school. And
you feel comfortable with that though? Like,
I don't know. But
you just want the option.
I just want the option. I want to be able to say, okay, all right, y'all going to school. But with that, the other thing is, listeners, COVID didn't go anywhere. I want everybody to know that all of these ideas about reopening and everything, Florida just hit their record high number of new cases. Texas, I think, did. DC did. The New York did. So stay at home, even if these cities and states are saying, yes, it's safe to open back up and it's safe to go chill out. The problem is that the coronavirus didn't just go away. We're the only developed nation that is still on a rise of new cases. So when you have New Zealand, who is pretty much eradicated, they haven't had a new case in almost 3 weeks. And then we are hitting record highs for our new case counts. And then you have the president saying he literally tried to slow down testing so that it wouldn't make him look as bad. You know, we don't have the support that we really need from the top on this thing. So it's got to be grassroots. So stay home if you can. Keep social distancing. I talked about we went to Mobile for Father's Day, and my kids are mad with me because we're quarantining for 14 days. They can't go see, you know, their grandma here for those 14 days because I'm like, no, you're not going to cross-contaminate and expose them if we did get exposed. So be aware and be smart when you're going out, when you're doing interactions. So that's all I got.
All right, man. Thank you for that PSA, man. We definitely need to hear that. A lot of people think COVID had a summer vacation or whatever the case may be, and it's here, and we got to pay attention to the signs. So I'm going to take a break for a sec and do a special, I guess. I'm going to start with this. I want to take a moment to just tell you guys to be thankful and keep people in your prayers and just find out what's going on with people. I want to send a special prayer out to my cousin Melvin and his young lady, Pearl Estrada, two of our listeners. They have twin boys, Brandon and Bryson. And Bryce is going through another surgery as we speak. This young man's been through a lot. And just be thankful for your health and strength and the things that that we take for granted. And so I just really pray for the successful surgeries, and this young man and his family have been through a lot. So just keep people in your prayers and find out what's going on with people, because it's a lot to go through during this time period. And then I'm going to try to end this on a good note. I want to say congratulations to one of our listeners, my line brother, and his wife, Edmund Eugene Lee IV. And his wife, Stephanie Lee. They are bringing in their first child, Edmund Eugene Lee V. They call him Cinco. He was born today. So I always think it's cool just to see that name carry on. And so congratulations to them. So as much stress and turmoil as we hear from others, it's always good to hear good news, like you guys were saying. And to continue with good news, one of our favorite listeners, Ani Barack Obama Hussein III was just nominated for the state delegate position. What is it, Razi? You know,
for the Green Party.
Yeah. So I want to congratulate her for making the ballot. You know, that's a big thing. And we also often talk about the two-party system. Always remember there's a third party, especially in local elections and stuff like that. And just remember that there's a third option, and the Green Party can be and usually is the party of the people. So anything you guys want to add to that?
No. I think that, well, I guess, yes. Like you said, the Green Party, the Libertarian Party, there's a bunch of other parties out there that are viable, especially on a smaller local level, those types of things. So watch out for those candidates and really kind of look at their platforms, look at their policies, and vote for the person that you really think aligns with you and your policies. And so, because that's the only thing. We talk about the two-party system, but at one point the Whig Party led the nation. Now, like, that was the party to be in, and they eventually died. So, we can break the two-party system, especially on a local level, if you get a good candidate and people start talking about the platforms instead of just the parties.
I just want to congratulate her for making the ballot. And for those of you that don't know, I believe if I'm not mistaken, she was the first female guest we had on the show. And I just appreciate you, Ani. You always challenge us. Like, we're in a constant group chat. And she constantly challenges us to, not think like typical males and look outside the box and, be considerate of, I guess you could say other people that aren't well represented. You know what I mean? So she constantly challenges us, and I thank her for that because I feel like she makes us better. And thank you for listening, and congratulations on making that ballot. Let us know what we can do to help you, and we definitely will do our best to try and help you.
Exactly, Byron. Let us know what we can do, and hopefully we'll keep announcing your success and do anything we can to help support. So, Ani, congratulations once again. This is Three Brothers No Sense, 6 Rules of Podcast. Listen, like, share, subscribe, comment, and most importantly, listen again. See you next week.